Hi, I'm Llew from Advancer and welcome to today's Whiteboard Wednesday, where we're looking at how much percentage equity should I give up in my business. Now this is something I get asked all the time, probably about 2 to 3 times a week, is how much do I hand off to investors of my business? And often it's a startup or a scale up that's growing rapidly, someone that's actually a founder or a co-founder, they might own 100% of the business and they're actually looking at chopping off a bit of their business to get some capital in so they can actually continue to grow. So the first thing to note is it starts with 0 and it's 100%. It's never more than 100%, of course. And so generally speaking, you'll look at a co-founder that might own 50% or someone that owns the full 100%. If someone owns the full 100%, always remember that 51% is actually the magic number, because if you own the majority, then you have full control of your business. And that's something to remember. So when you're actually chopping it up, the first thing to look at is raising an ESOP, and basically an ESOP is an employee share offer program, or some call it an employee share option program, because it's basically options that you can put in place over time for people like co-founders or CEOs, people that come on board in the future. They can actually access some options within the business. I always look at about 10%. As the magic number. So 10% of the 100% goes to an ESOP, and that's something that can be, as I said, put in place over a period of months or years, and that's called vesting. So people actually have to prove themselves, they have to be part of your team, and then they might be invited to be joining and vesting within the ESOP. So about 10%. So we've got about 90% left, and you're going to need to raise some capital. So when you raise some capital, it goes in 2 core ways. Seed capital, which is the first part, and often in the startup space it's Series A, and you can also do Series B, but generally by the time you get to Series B you're starting to dilute this whole model, because this is a bit of a scale up and startup model. So what we're doing here is working out how much total equity do you have within the business, and that's really important because you've got to work out, do you want 60% for example, and you might have 2 of you who then own 30% each, or if there's 1 of you it's actually 60%. The biggest one to look at when you're first starting up is the seed, and I wouldn't be giving away more than 5% of your equity in this part here. Well, let's put 5% up there. And this one here is something to get you started. That might be that $20,000, it might be $50,000, it might be $200,000, it might be a little bit more, but basically it's the capital to get you into an accelerator or to get you into an incubator, to get you into a desk, to maybe get 1 or 2 people to help you out to really rapidly scale and launch the product. And so put that into seed, and often that 5% comes from credit cards, friends, families and fools, or your savings. So be really careful with that money, but yeah, make sure it's not more than 5% as an average. The other part of seed is really that next stage when you really want to scale, and companies might want to raise 100 or 200 or 500 or 800,000, and they go off and get seed capital, just depending on what you're needing there. And so that's probably another 10 to 15%. So you've got 15% that you've excluded from your ESOP. And that 10% can really last you a good couple of years. So if you're a really mature company, you're starting to really get some traction and retain customers and build your value globally and things like that, you might not need to access too much more seed. You might actually start to get monthly recurring revenue that pays for those things. But the seed is really, really important to help you get to that if you don't have those channels as yet. Series A is when all the venture capital and the private equity and the high net worth individuals and all of that start really tipping in quite a bit more. You might have consortiums of high net worth individuals or groups of angels, for example, that actually put some money into escrow and allow you to access that money, and then that's a Series A play. This one here is about a 2-year play. The Series A is normally about 2 years and above, and the ESOP can kick off from day 1. For example, if you hire a CTO, you can put them on a small ESOP. Just remember, with a CEO, I would never do more than 3% on an ESOP under a vesting schedule, and of course, make sure they've been in the role for a while before you put people onto an ESOP. Hope that explains it. Leave some comments below if you've got any other comments, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Cheers.